Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Denmark, although I guess you could say this brewery is part Danish and part American, and you've seen me review a number of different beers from these guys now. So for this one we are going to return to Evil Twin Brewing and we're having a taste of the Imperial Doughnut Break. So this guy comes in at 11.5% and it is an Imperial Porter brewed with coffee, vanilla, almonds and donuts. So yeah, should be a really interesting one. From what I gather, this beer is apparently the Imperial Biscotti Break, but they've just added donuts to it. I have heard that from some people, but how true that is, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, it should be a really awesome one. We know the Evil Twin do some very, very good beers, be they at the lighter side of things with the Imperial IPAs or double IPAs, or be they at the other end of the spectrum with the Imperial Stouts. Evil Twin, very, very well known brewery these days, and they do some really, really interesting stuff. So really looking forward to this one. This is another one of the beers that was released through Systembolaget on the 5th of April 2019, and it was one of 4 Evil Twin beers that actually was released. There was 2 IPAs, I think, and also 2 Imperial Stouts, and I got the 2 Imperial Stouts rather than the IPAs. So really looking forward to this one, and as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Evil Twin before. No doubt there will be some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Danish beers that I've reviewed for you and one for all the American beers. This one will appear in both because, of course, it's a kind of half and half brewery. But as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Evil Twin Brewing then. So Evil Twin Brewing basically are one of the many Danish gypsy breweries, but these guys were founded by Jeppe Jarnet Bjergso, who is of course the brother of Mikael Bjergso, the big boss at Mikkeller. The company itself was founded back in 2010, and it was largely inspired by the lack of craft beer that was available in Denmark at the time. But Jeppe began home brewing in the same beer group that gave birth to the Mikkeller brewery, and he went on to found his own beer shop in Copenhagen called Ølbutikken. But he started an import business that was attached to this shop, and he used that to import American beers into Denmark, and of course he was one of the pioneers at doing this. But he later decided that it would be fun to sell his own beers in the shop, and he was also distributing the very early Mikkeller beers as well. But Jeppe agreed an import deal with 12% imports to send his beers over to America, and he later went over there with his wife and moved there and set himself up there in 2012. And the company were based in Brooklyn over in New York. But their beer is brewed largely at a variety of host breweries. Quite a few of their beers are brewed in Connecticut, quite a few of them are brewed in Westbrook Brewery in Carolina as well, but they've also previously brewed beers in Scotland. I believe Brewdog were brewing some of their beers for a while, and they also brew, I think Popel's Brewery or Dugges Brewery have been brewing a couple of things for them as well here in Sweden. But yeah, they brew their beers at a variety of different host institutions. These guys are yet another one of the famous Danish gypsy breweries, I guess you could say, but they are based in America now, so they're kind of a Danish company but also kind of an American brewery. But like I said, a brewery that is really quite well known in the different craft beer circles these days. But that's all you really need to know about Evil Twin. A really interesting brewery, this one, and if you haven't tried any of their beers, you really need to. I'm trying to think, probably one of my favourite ones I had from these guys was the Swedish Fika Imperial Biscotti Break. That was a beautiful beer. I think that was the last one I reviewed from these guys actually. It was really, really nice, and I also enjoyed the Yin and Yang. Both of those beers were pretty damn awesome as well, I have to say. But yeah, have a go at some of the Evil Twin beers if you haven't already. You will find some really, really good stuff there. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and of course you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram, and that'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on. They've got somewhere in the region of 400 different beers that they've brewed so far actually, so make sure you check out some of those. But yeah, let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself then. So this one is an 11.5% Imperial Porter. As I said earlier, from what I've heard, this one is basically the Imperial Biscotti Break. but they've added some donuts to it as well, and it's brewed with coffee, vanilla, almonds and donuts, and it is brewed at the Westbrook Brewery in Mount Pleasure in South Carolina, which is a little bit further south of where they're based in New York City. But yeah, I'll just read the little blurb for you. It says, did the flavours of sugar and bittersweet almonds and coffee in Imperial Biscotti Break also make you sentimental? Now we topped it off with an insane amount of donuts. This all-time American favourite is making its way back to the spotlight, and we at Evil Twin Brewing are not letting a tasty trend pass us by without taking it to the next level. Drink it with great gusto. Forza Donuts, produced and canned for Evil Twin Brewing at Westbrook Brewing Company at Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and distributed by 12% LLC, Brooklyn, New York. But yeah, lovely presented can, this one. You know, the very typical Evil Twin artwork on this one. They've got these very kind of distinctive shapes and stuff, but it looks very, very nice. You can see there is the Swedish import sticker on this one. I do get my £1 back when I return the can, but yeah, nicely presented beer, this one, very typical for Evil Twin. And there you can see just on the top of the can, there is the brewery's symbol. Just let the camera focus on that a second. But yeah, an 11.5% Imperial Porter, this one. I actually thought it was an Imperial Stout when I got it, but you know, when you get to that percent with an Imperial Porter, it's not too far off an Imperial Stout in many senses actually. But yeah, let's get this guy out then, and we'll get on with the tasting. I'm really curious just to see how this beer turns out, but yeah, filled right up to the brim as always. So let's get it out and into the glass. The other beer that these guys released at the same time was the Irish-ish coffee stout. So that's the other one you'll see me review in a couple of videos time. But straight away with this beer, you can see the you can smell that lovely kind of coffee note coming out of the beer. But yeah, as you can see with this one, and as you would expect, there's a lovely dark ebony rosewood colour there. There's a solid quarter or third finger of a frothy, quite dark tan head in this one. It looks very, very nice. So one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass then, and a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But you know, overall, it does look very, very nice. If I hold this beer up to the light, not even a little, you know, dark mahogany edge or a dark ruby or something like that. It is very much a really dark ebony colour, this one. There's virtually no light coming through that beer at all. That's pretty insane, I have to say. But yeah, it looks absolutely lovely and pretty much as you would expect from an Imperial Porter. There's, you know, nothing surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance. So yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then, and just see how we get on with this one. Oh, yeah, that smells really, really quite nice. So straight away from me, you can smell the real smoothness of the coffee beans in the base of this beer. And I've been getting really, really into the different coffee stouts recently. You know, adding coffee beans to different beers, it can really just add another you know, it can really just add another dimension to the beers. The coffee beans themselves, it's like hops. You get so many different varieties of hops, and it's the same with the coffee beans. With this one, to me, it's got this. The coffee bean that's in this has a really good blend of sort of earthiness and toastiness, but it's also got a really nice sort of floral aromaticity to it as well. I really like how the coffee bean comes out in this one. It's got a lovely blend of earthiness and aromaticity to it. It's a lovely base to the beer actually. Nice dark chocolatey notes to it, of course, sort of high cocoa percentage. I think we're talking about between 70 and 80% cocoa in this beer, and of course you've got a lovely nutty quality to this beer. The almonds really start to come out of it as well. And you've got a sort of vanilla sweetness also, so it gives you a kind of blend. It gives you the impression of a blend between a kind of high percentage cocoa chocolate and also some of the more milky chocolate as well. You've got a really interesting blend of chocolatey notes in this beer. But yeah, I really like how the whole aroma in this beer goes together. As you would expect with an Imperial Porter, it's a lovely, big, malty beast of a beer. For me, it's just it really is a lovely aroma. This one, Evil Twin, always give you some excellent stuff there. And you know, you pick out other things. It says coffee, vanilla, almonds, and donuts. You can pick out a little bit of everything. I have to admit, donuts. I never really eat donuts. It's very rare that I'll actually eat a donut. And back home in Scotland, everyone's raving about, you know, these Krispy Kreme donuts, and I think I've tried them once or twice, but I've not been, you know, I've not been overly into them, I would say. But I really like that. I really like that I was always a big fan of the icing and stuff you got in the donuts. But for me, the coffee, the vanilla, and the almonds in this one, they all come out really nicely. But I've been finding myself getting very, very into coffee stouts these days, mainly because of the ones from Doughnut Brewery here in Sweden. But I've tried some other really awesome ones, and as I said, I really enjoyed the Swedish Fika Imperial Biscotti break that we had before. But yeah, the donuts in this one, you can smell almost a little bit of the dusty, bready type thing that you get from donuts, but I don't think it's too obvious in the aroma. For me, this one's more focused on the almonds and the vanilla. They mix together quite nicely actually, but also the coffee bean notes. It smells like a very smooth and quite sweet coffee based beer, this actually. In terms of the hoppy side of things, you can pick up, you know, a little touch of grassiness. You can pick up the earthiness, which is what you'd expect from a beer that's as dark as this. On the fruity side of things as well, you've got a nice, you know, there's a little bit of a slightly figgy note to this one. You've got a little bit of a, you know, you've got a little touch of a kind of candied red fruity ester to the beer. But, you know, mainly it's a nice big sort of smooth malty note to this one. This is a big malt forward beer, which is exactly what you'd expect from an Imperial Porter. But yeah, it's got a lovely aroma to it, this beer. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy that aroma before you get stuck into the beer itself. But let's just have a taste of this one. So this one is the Imperial Doughnut Break, an Imperial Porter coming in at 11.5% with coffee, vanilla, almonds and donuts added to it, from Evil Twin Brewing Company, based over in New York these days, but originally from Copenhagen in Denmark. Let's get stuck into this one. Slange, skål. Yeah, as you would expect, that's just a really, really nice beer. Now, with big beers like this, it's really interesting with this because, you know, when you get up to this alcohol percentage, you've really got to use the malts properly to cover the alcohol, particularly when it's a beer that's such a, you know, that it's quite a bit lighter in the mouthfeel. The porter, you know, the distinctive feature about the porter in comparison with the stout is always the mouthfeel. The porters are far lighter normally than stout beers. This one, for a beer that's so heavy in alcohol, it's ridiculously smooth, but it definitely retains that lighter mouthfeel that you would expect of an Imperial Porter. Yeah, I really like how everything is going together in this one. The thing that I'm noticing about this beer is you've got all these different things in it, but they're all very, very well balanced. There's none of them that's really punching their weight, you know, kind of punching above their weight, I guess you could say. The flavours just all blend together very, very nicely. So the base of this one, I would say, it's very much, you can feel a little touch of the roasty black malt there just forming the backbone of this beer, but it's very much kind of smoothed out a little bit by kind of chocolate malts and things like this. But on top of that, of course, for me, on top of that very base layer that the beer has, you get the coffee bean smoothness out of this one. And again, like I was saying, from the aroma you pick up with this beer, it's very well balanced in that sense. You've got a really nice, with the coffee bean, you've definitely got that nice smooth roastiness to the beer. But on top of that, you've got a nice little bit of floral aromaticity. So it's got a really nice balance just between that slightly more floral quality and the more earthy roastiness. And like I say, you can get coffee beans that are very fruity. You can get ones that are more kind of citrusy. You can get ones that are a little bit more kind of floral and aromatic, and you can get the ones that are just a little bit more earthy. To me, this one has a really good balance between those earthy, toasty notes and also the more floral characteristics of the beer. Yeah, I really like that base of the beer. The coffee bean just really forms that kind of linchpin. You can feel that the malt base in this one just dries out a little bit the more and more that you drink of the beer. And you start to feel that the coffee, I think, starts to lean a little bit more towards the earthy side of things in that case, but you can feel some of the floral elements pushing its way out of the coffee bean as well. It's really interesting just to see how that flavour evolves the more that you drink of this beer. But in the centre of the palate with this one, you definitely get a little bit more of the chocolate malts. You can feel some of the black malt just pushing its way out in this beer as well. But as you come further forward on the palate, you can feel just a little bit of that. There is an element of woodiness to this beer. If you just, as I say, if you just go to the centre of your palate and move forward a bit and then go out to the sides, you can pick up there is a little bit of an almost woody quality to this beer. It's not quite spicy, but it's not far off being just a little touch spicy, if you like. But you can feel the almonds coming out there. There's a little bit of the vanilla as well, and it's just the centre part of this beer is really well balanced. And the further you go into the aftertaste, that's when you start to get this kind of bready, donutty flavour out of the beer. Of course, you know, this beer at 11.5% and as an Imperial Porter, the flavours are more focused on the malts. It is the malt base that's really going to grab your attention with this one. But there's nothing, like I say, this beer is all about the balance between these different things. It's not overly punchy in any one aspect to the beer. And I think I've said that before about a couple of the different darker beers that I've had from Evil Twin before. It's been a really nice kind of experience trying all these different things. They're very, very good at balancing the beers, but really making them have you know, just have this little edge, if you like. So you really, in the aftertaste, as I say, the donut really starts to just push its way out a little bit more the further into the aftertaste, but the rest of the malt base is very, very well balanced in the beginning. It's a lovely beer, this one. Have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. But I think I really need to try the original Imperial Biscotti Break, because I've never actually tried that one. I've tried two different versions of it already. You know, the Swedish Fika Imperial Biscotti Break, and now we've got this one. I think I really need to have a go at the original one at some point. I think it's Popel's Brewery actually that are brewing that one under license here in Sweden. But yeah, this is just a lovely, lovely beer, and as I said, the focus is on the malt base and how all these different flavours start to emerge from it. I'm noticing as well, you've seen how long it was since I took a sip of this beer, the woodiness and the kind of almond and vanilla flavours, they do start to push their way out the further you go into the aftertaste as well, so just bear that in mind. The hoppy side of the beer then, in the back corners of the palate you get a little bit of that earthiness there, which is what you expect from a beer that's dark like this. But as you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, you can feel that just smooths out a little bit. In the front corners of the palate, there's a teeny little bit of a floral note there, and that actually blends very well with the sort of floral side of the coffee actually, which is quite nice. But then round the front curve of the palate, there is a little touch of that floral quality remaining, but it does become just a little bit lighter and grassy. And behind the front curve of the tongue, you get a little bit of an oily bubble there, where the fruity esters start to come out from the hops. But this beer isn't too big in terms of its fruitiness. Yeah. So on the fruity side of things, for me, this beer has a little bit of it has a little bit of sharpness in the beginning. You can pick up that there's a little bit of an almost raisiny sharpness to the beer in the beginning. But the further you go into the aftertaste, it starts to evolve to be a little bit more of a figgy flavour. There's a little bit of a slightly medicinal quality to this one. There's almost a teensy little bit of phenol, but you can feel actually, it's interesting, towards the front of the palate there's almost just a little bit of that roasty toastiness pushing its way out on the front part of the tongue, and it's kind of given the impression of being a little bit sort of phenolic or medicinal, kind of similar a little bit in the same kind of things you'd get maybe from a Belgian Bruin or a Belgian Double. I've always found that you get a little touch of phenol out of them, not in the same way, of course, that you don't get that at all from the quadruples, which of course are the bigger, sweeter beers. But there is just a little touch of an almost kind of medicinal, kind of cough syrupy type thing towards the front of the palate with this beer as well. But the further you go into the aftertaste, like I say, that the coffee bean, the balance between the aromaticity and the earthiness in the coffee bean, really starts to push its way out in the aftertaste of this one. It's just, this beer is all about the balance of these different flavours, and it balances things very, very well. So when you try this beer, just pay attention to the malt base mainly in this one. The hops and the fruity side of things should take a little bit of a back seat in comparison to the malt base and of course the various adjuncts that they've added into this beer. But to sum it up, it's another lovely, beautifully balanced Imperial Stout from Evil Twin, and that's what we've kind of come to know and respect from these guys over the last couple of years. So yeah, I think that's a good point just to kind of sign off on this one. They've done a great job of this, but it's not exactly surprising. This is a style that Evil Twin are very, very good at. So yeah, I need to really have a go at the original Imperial Biscotti Break in this one as well. But yeah, a lovely beer this one, and I'm really glad that I was able to review it for you. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Evil Twin Brewing as well. But this one's another beautifully balanced Imperial Porter. And I do hope that I can get a taste of the original Imperial Biscotti Break for you at some point soon. But this is beautiful. It's still available through the web store, I think, in Systembolaget. And of course you'll get it in the boutique stores like the one in Hansa and Malmo, the two in Stockholm and the one in Gothenburg. But just have a go at this beer for yourself and see what you think. But yet again, another beautiful Imperial Stout from Evil Twin Brewing, which is what we've come to expect. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Evil Twin as well. A lovely Imperial Porter, this one, at 11.5%, and it does retain that slightly lighter mouthfeel. Like I said, actually I think I've missed the mouthfeel in this review, which is maybe this one's going to my head a little bit. So the mouthfeel with this beer, definitely a full bodied beer. This one of the heavier Imperial Porters you're going to come across. The mouthfeel overall, not quite creamy but very, very smooth. The how do you say, I would say that the mouthfeel of this one, it's a good balance between oily and smooth. It's got a real good balance there. You've got a little touch of hoppiness to this one, but nothing that's going to blow your head in terms of IBUs. The malt base has a little bit of roastiness to it, but it's got a good balance with the sweetness and the other adjuncts that's in there. You've got a little touch of a fruity kind of sweetness to this one. But overall, it's just, this beer, as I said, is all about the balance. But we'll leave it at that for this. It's just a lovely, lovely Imperial Porter, this one, and you need to try it for yourself. But like I say, thank you for watching my beer reviews, and until the next time, let me know your favourite beers from Evil Twin. And you will see more of these reviewed over the next little while. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. This one is the Imperial Doughnut Break from Evil Twin Brewing, based in Brooklyn in New York, over in America just now, but originally from Copenhagen in Denmark. A lovely Imperial Porter, this one, and one that you really just need to try for yourself. So until the next time, Slàinte just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Slàinte, skål, have a go at this beer for yourself. Cheers.